maybe.
Happy days. So we're recording. So this is part of Ballymun Health and Fitness Festival. I've asked Jonathan and Damo to come along and have a chat about swimming in the sea, and let's see where it takes us. So that's kind of how I know you, Jonathan, would be through Sparky and Damo and swimming in the sea. I remember after I done Apollo House, Sparky brought me over to you. We had an old dip and we went to your cafe, Ernesto's, and kind of that introduced me to you. And then I would have been swimming with Damo for about probably 20 years this year, is it, brother?
A long time anyway, huh?
Yeah.
A long time.
And I remember...
Since the Isaac Boat.
Since the Isaac Boat, yeah, we kind of, me and Sparky went in and we used to stand at the corner, the stage in the Isaac Boat, and we'd be pointing over Damo, listen to all the songs. They're hard to be broken. And then one day we kind of plucked up the courage to go over and go, all right, bro, we're the two weirdos from Ballymun standing at the side of your stage crying at every gig. Do you want to hang out? And I think we done a little tour of Ballymun, actually. I was saying to you, do you know Ballymun? And then you said to me, sure, my mom and dad lived here and my brothers and all lived here. Yeah. And then we would have went out and just done a bit of swimming. I think you actually introduced me to the Crow's Nest.
Yeah, beautiful spot. Yeah, it's a beautiful spot.
It's a beautiful spot. And there's a number of beautiful spots. Jonathan, you swim over in the 40-foot. So we just want to get into sea swimming and see where it brings us. Because I'm just back from a swim about a half an hour ago. I was down, I swim in Portmarnock, usually at the High Rock, but lately underneath the shelters, because there seems to be a growing community down there, which hasn't been there in the 20 years that I'm swimming.
Yeah.
It hasn't been there at all.
People are copping on, to the benefits, to the amazing benefits. But I'd say to anybody listening, if they don't swim, just go down and take your shoes and socks off and just, get your feet in. And if you have cold feet, your feet get cold, just come home and get an Epsom salt bucket. Put your feet in a bucket full of Epsom salt and hot water, and you'll feel much better, really good for you.
I've been down there, like I was down there last week and it was cold and wet and raining, and where I swim, and there was probably 200 or 300 people at the swimming shelter part, getting into swim.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to people, and there'd be people saying, I haven't been here since I was a kid, and I'm curious as to what it is that has them out en masse now, because it's been there. That beach, that sea, that cold water has been there every day for the last 30 or 40 years while they were growing up. You know what I mean? And this is the year, this is the perfect storm or the circumstances that has them out there now. And I'm really interested in that. I'm wondering, Jonathan, do you see any difference over in your spot? Well, your spot was locked down this year because it was so busy.
Sure. Well, for sure. I mean, I remember saying it to Damo there even a few years ago, the increase in popularity with all the swimming spots. You can see a massive influx of new people all of the time, And a lot of the people that you see, like, they're not day trippers. A lot of them will type of stick there, Yeah. I mean, were days last summer, for instance, where you could go down to the 40-foot at 6:30, 7, because I'm in work for 8 o'clock. And there could be 200-300 people there. Where a few years prior to that, on a Saturday morning when most people would be free, or Sunday, there'd be 4 or 6, 8 people. You know what I mean? At that hour, there'd be very little.
Yeah, I went swimming down the High Rock the other morning. It was -5 degrees. It was 8 o'clock in the morning. And usually it would be me, Sparky, Dempsey, and probably one other weirdo, over the last 20 years. But there was, at the High Rock, which isn't the most popular spot, but at 8 o'clock in the morning, -5 degrees in the second week in January, there was 40 cars parked there. That's mental. And I remember lying at the High Rock with you, Damo, in the middle of summer, in the morning, going, do people just not know this is here?
They're all coming down to see you dancing.
I know, yeah, shaking, doing the Lindy hop.
Check out the boombox.
But do they not know it's here? And I think now they know. Now they know. They've been forced to know. They've been forced to spend time with themselves.
Yeah.
Well, I think like a lot of people, like you said, in the last few years have seen the benefits to be derived from sea swimming, you know, and it's there for all of us. It's free, you know.
What are you talking about, the benefits? What benefits?
Well, for starters, can I just rewind a bit and just say that I've noticed the amount of women swimming to be much greater than the amount of men swimming. They've tapped into it at an earlier time, that they've seen the benefits of it, you know. So for me, the benefits of sea swimming is it. No matter what's going on in your mind, no matter what's going on any given day, when you jump into that water, you have to focus on your breathing, especially the colder water. That's where the real benefit is, you know. That's where the payback is. The endorphin level rising and the serotonin level and all of these things that people associate with a natural high can only be derived from the cold water, you know. It won't be derived from the swimming in the good weather. It's pleasurable, it's nice, sure, but the real payload comes in the cold weather, you know. But the women have tapped into that. And no matter what's going on in your mind, it can be a row with boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whoever, trouble in work, stress over the way the world is, the way our city is, the way the economy is, everything. We can all let certain things get in on us. When we jump into that cold water, all you can think about is breathing. And all you can think is focus on your breathing, staying alive and swimming and doing the right thing, you know? So you know it works partially. You know during that moment in time, it works partially because we've all seen evidence of that. But as you do it more and more and more and more, the whole thing of swimming in the sea, it infiltrates your day. Your mind stays positive, you stay focused, you're less quick to get agitated, you're less quick to jump off, fly off the handle, all of these things. So they're the things, Dean, that I saw that work for me instantly, you know. I saw those things from the very, very outset. And I started to swim. I mean, I'll come back to it in a minute, but I started to swim about when my mother had passed away, you know, and I was grief stricken essentially, you know, and I couldn't sleep. I was, you know, rancid with anxiety and stress, you know. And the young people today, I suppose it's tricky for some if they live certain distance away and all that. But like I say to the kids, going down swimming in the sea, you might be a little bit outside your 5K, but you're not going more than an old lady, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's worked so well for me.
There's so many things there resonate with me. The main one being the breathing. Like I went down today angry. I was having an argument in my head with a fella, and I went down to the sea today angry. And I went in, and it's whatever degrees the water is. It's the dullest of days. It's raining out, but I just had to. All that stuff went down my brain, and I just went into my body and into my breathing, and it's powerful. It's absolutely powerful, and I think there's loads of reasons why the breathing works, and we might talk about that in a minute.
You can never get closer. Well, it's very hard to get any closer to Mother Nature than when you're up to your neck in her, you know. So you're really getting back to the mother when you go into that sea. And then there's about 80 different minerals, I believe, that go into your system, you know. Even when you paddle, even when you get your feet into the water, there's about 80 different minerals that go into your pores and up through your bloodstream. And another one is when you hit the cold water, all the blood rushes into your vital organs, you know, and flushes them out. So it detoxes all your vital organs. Then it flushes back out. So great for circulation, getting the blood, the nutrients up to your brain, and sort of put you in a better headspace as well, you know. So there's so many benefits. It's incredible.
And I think sometimes we try and get those benefits by paying for products and so on, because I know that, you know, there's guys in gyms use products to flush all the blood out, but if you jump into the sea and it's 10 degrees, it's free, it's there 24 hours a day, it's natural.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Well, like you talk about products and this and that, and Damon was speaking about the blood flowing through your system, flushing out toxins and all these things. But for sure, do you reckon that the swimming in the sea, like scientists reckon that swimming in the sea is probably the greatest benefit to people with eczema, you know? It's the most, and it's, you're saving yourself going purchasing all these emulsifying creams and all of these things that cause you discomfort. Do you reckon the sea swimming is by far the most beneficial thing for you for sea swimming?
Yeah, that's true.
Than if you're struggling with eczema? you know.
Would you know anything about the history of swimming? Because it seems to be that where we're at now, in terms of, especially on the east coast around Dublin, in terms of people swimming during the lockdown, that the numbers are unprecedented. They're nothing like I've seen all year round, you know, as long as I'm swimming there. So I'm curious, is this a moment in our culture, in our society, that's unprecedented in terms of people using nature for healing?
Well, I tapped into it a bit last year. I was going to do a swim in Slovenia, and I tapped into the history of cold water swimming, really like ice swimming, you know. And the Finns tapped into that roughly around the same time as when we were in the famine, 1850s. They tapped into the benefits to be derived from sea swimming at that time. The Finnish people. That's what they put down, the whole tradition of the cold water coupled with the sauna, you know. And they seen, I suppose, what could be derived from sea swimming, the benefits of it, you know, in fighting off depression, because essentially they have like the guts of a 4 to 6 month winter there when it's dark, you know, in like the likes of Northern Rovaniemi in Finland. And they tapped into it. That's where they reckon it stemmed from, you know. And then
also,
the other Nordic countries.
Yeah, I remember reading also in England in the 1800s, they probably got it off the Finns, I'd say, you know, but thalassotherapy was realised, became a sort of a, that's why they built all the big resorts, you know, all around England and Brighton and, you know, Bognor Regis and all these big, where the piers are, because they realised the benefit of the sea for human beings, getting into it, you know.
Yeah, and there's some spots, especially at the Crow's Nest there in Balscatten Bay, that was probably former on the former Guinness estate. Like there's a number of bats around Hout, you know, and I find it peculiar that they're all but abandoned up to this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People don't really use them. That they're, you know what I mean? That at one point they were used by whoever, the gentry, and then kind of abandoned.
Sure.
Probably when the Free State took over, it was probably abandoned, I'd say, you know. All them bats, Blackrock and Sandy Mountain, Dunleary, all along the coast, Clontarf, you know. They were all being used, but then they were abandoned, I think, when the changeover came.
Yeah, I think also we had when the changeover happened in our country, when we got our independence, that it was kind of like we were starting anew. We were like kids, we were juvenile as a country, you know what I mean? And we done mad stuff like ripped up the railways and all that type of crack.
That's right, sure.
Madness, like, you know?
Yeah.
They went all along the west coast, didn't they? The railways went all along the west coast. Would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
Sure, even the trams used to go past Blessington.
Yeah.
The Brits put them down, they must be now used, pull them up.
Yeah, up around Hout Head, they went there. The tram went up around Hout Head. It would have been incredible amenity today, you know.
Sure.
But I think that, like, it really stuns me. It continues to stun me, and sometimes I'm a bit overwhelmed by it when I go down to where I swim now regularly in Portmarnock, and as Jonathan says, there's groups of women there who I never seen. There's guys, there's old guys, there's kids playing around, and you could be the second week in January or the middle of summer. It doesn't matter. There's still hundreds of people down there. There's probably, in my spot, there's probably 300 or 400 people an hour going down to swim, and it would have been 3 or 4 people a day on that same day a year ago. I think that's unprecedented, and I think it's something that we as a country haven't even realised the benefits of, and the knock-on effects or the ripple effects that will have in our communities. Especially, like, I see a lot of lads coming down who are open about their previous cocaine addiction. Lads who are in their 20s and 30s, and they're jumping into the sea and they're screaming their heads off and they're saying, let it go, let it out, let all the pain out, let all the trauma out. And they're not holding that back. And for me, it's more than just swimming in the sea, because I would have fallen in love swimming in the sea with Damo and Sparky, and Damo would have taught us how to have fun and jump off the cliffs and float on our back and all that. But this has gone to, for me, it's gone to a whole different level. it's very, I don't know if it's tribal, but I think there's just thousands of people in this city that weren't swimming last year that are seeing the benefits of it. And that's one of the reasons I want to talk to you guys, because you've been doing it a lot longer than most. And I think if people stay with it, it's hard not to stay with it because it calls you back. It does call you back. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just curious about that. What happens, you know, past the biological or the physiological level? What happens to you guys when you get in there?
Do you want to jump in there, Damo?
Go ahead, go on, buddy. Walk away.
Well, I mean, I'm in a fellowship, you know, and anyone who knows me knows that's the case. I'm not hiding behind anything, you know, and a lot of my friends too are in the fellowship, and they keep themselves right as best they can on a daily basis. But the one thing I have noticed, you know, people that are members, be it NA, CA, or AA, whatever it may be, and they form a group outside of their, say, addiction group, and they go swimming as well, you know, it's like as if they have an extra thing in their arsenal, you know. And like you said, you alluded to the fact that it's tribal. Well, to a degree, I suppose it is. It's definitely camaraderie, you know. I know this, no matter what the weather's like, no matter what the weather's like. And I've seen it with yourself and Damo, when we sometimes go down the bull wall, you always have laugh with people. There's no one ever leaving there worse than they went down. Never, you know. I have a photograph actually on that day. I think you were talking about 10 years ago when we went swimming, and it's yourself, Sparky, myself, Damo, Kevin McMenamin, and the lad Shane Gallagher. And it's a November day. It was one of them real bright November wintry days. And everybody's in great form. Everybody's laughing. And if you remember that day, we all went back to the cafe. We all had a big stew. You know, yep. I mean, it's all of that. It's fellowship. You know, it's we need to stay right ourselves, but as a group, we're stronger. You know, so it's all of that. Yeah. And the swimming gives us that. You know, the same as if you're out. Do you reckon them walking in a boreal forested areas can lend to one of the same thing? You know, but for me, like, the payload is to be derived from swimming in the sea, you know. And like you say, it's tribal, it's you're there with your mates, you're having a laugh, no matter what form you're in going down. Reminds me when I played sports when I was younger. Once you get your boots on, you get out, you always come back and say, I'm delighted I did that now. Delighted. Because you're proactive in your own life. You're proactive in your day, you're proactive in your recovery. And what for me, I'm definitely less quick to get agitated. It definitely quells the old noggin, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I got agitated. Agitated badly today. I don't really get agitated much. I've seen that pattern in myself, and it kind of, I spiral down when I do it. So when I see it, I address it. But I got upset with someone. I got angry, and going down to the sea today helped me reset. Sorry, Damo, come in there. Just about that level of stuff beyond the physical stuff. What else? Where else does it bring you?
If your mind is noisy, you know, it sort of pushes it down. It quietens down all the thoughts. You know, it helps you focus, I suppose. It's a bit of a challenge, you know, in the winter. You know, it's a challenge because you're freezing. You're going down there and it's freezing. You have to take your clothes off and put your bare feet on the cold, wet stone. You know, the chill goes up through you. You know, it's a challenge, and you sort of think sometimes, Jesus, what am I doing? But the challenge is great for you. You know, it's really good for you. If you can, you know, you just feel good after you. If you do something you don't feel like doing, you know, but you force yourself to do it, it's really good for you. It's like you've achieved something, you know, to get into the 5-degree water or whatever it is, you know. But
yeah,
and it's sort of like it puts you on a better trajectory. You always feel better than you did before you went in, and it gives you a magnesium high. It gives you a natural high from Mother Nature, you know. It's a magnesium high where you feel that it's just, if you can't get down there for the swim, have an Epsom salt bath or put your feet in an Epsom salt bath, and you'll get a little bit of the same the very same thing that you get from the sea, you know. But
it's also a bit, in a good way, it's a bit addictive. Well, not maybe addictive, kind of like the way you have breakfast every morning. I like to swim, you know what I mean? And if there's water anywhere, if there's a river or a reservoir or a lake or the sea or whatever it is, I'm getting in. Even if I don't have my jocks with me, I'm getting in because I know what good it does to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
That's the other. Careful where you get in.
Go on, Dave, sorry.
Say that again.
Careful where you get in. Reservoirs and quarries and all that.
I know.
Lakes and all, they can be lethal. You know.
Yeah. Go on, Jonathan.
I was thinking about something today. I was laughing to myself. I remember it's about, and I have a picture of the day. It was on the 22nd of January, and it's over 10 years ago. And Dave was saying to me in the weeks prior to that, "I know I swim all winter. I go January the whole lot." I think, "Way all that you're spoofing." And he says, "Oh no. I don't know if you remember this, Dave, but you remember the incident when I tell you, right?" He said, "Oh yeah, I was over with John Reynolds and I was still swimming in Leamington Spa." You said, "You know," and I said, "I need to see evidence of that." So I said, "I'm gonna call down for you next week," and I called down. It was on the 22nd of January, and we went down to the High Rock and we got stripped off, and the place was blowing a hoolie, you know. And there's a woman walking her dog along, and she looks at us and she walked by and she said, "Lads, I don't know whether to commend you or get you certified." And Damo looked at me and the height of him, and he goes, "This is all your bleeding fault." But, you know, in what she said is the crux to most people's problems. You can be certified or you can be commended for your effort, you know. And you can be at home on any given day and you can be under the bedclothes wondering about this, about that, about the worries of the world, everything. Or you can get up and be proactive in your own welfare, proactive in your own well-being, proactive in your ability to approach the day, to deal with life on life's terms, you know? Yeah. And the sea swimming gives me a fair measure in being able to deal with them things. Like you said, you know, it's tribal, you're there with your friends, the benefits it's giving you. I don't know anybody, I don't know anyone that's had a bad sea swimming experience. Anybody. Now, yeah, I'm not talking about an accident here.
It is a challenge and it is adversity, but there are benefits from taking that risk. And I think that that's one of the lessons that a lot of the guys I'm swimming with are learning. If you take the risk and you get out of your comfort zone, there are benefits to be had that aren't available in your sitting room when you're all cozied up. And
sure,
if that's something that you're looking for in your life, or you might just need a change in your life, or you're going in a direction you don't want to go, something like sea swimming and can give you that, you know.
And you appreciate your living room, your sitting room a lot more when you get back to it.
Yeah.
Pour the fire on, or light the fire or whatever. You appreciate your shower an awful lot, you know, when you get back and get into it.
Yeah, and there is a thing about you must be mad. Like that's one of the phrases I hear all the time, but I hear it less this year. You must be mad getting in there, you know. And my response is you must be mad not getting in there. And I seen Max Savage put up a video slating sea swimmers. Very good now, but he's slating sea swimmers, saying what he is doing, what he's trying to prove. Yous are all mad, and maybe we are a little bit mad. But, you know, as a nation, there's a collective madness. There's a collective sadness. But there's also a collective, you know, we're up for a bit of bleeding mayhem here. You know what I mean?
Well, we'd be a lot madder now. A lot madder if we didn't get in.
100%.
Well, I seen that video and my brother sent me that and he said to me, that fella could do it a good watch.
But I don't think he's had a rub of the relic in a couple of weeks. I think he's doing a fast, you know.
Yeah, well, you know,
you'd be honored.
Everyone's in their own.
You'd be honored to be slagged by him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen. Like you said, fellas say you must be mad. My response to that has always been the same, and it's compared to what? Mad compared to what? To sitting at home wondering, should I have done something about myself today? Is that not mad? knowing that you have the solution in the grasp of your hands and not doing something about it, or knowing that you can do something that will aid your life, that will benefit your day, benefit those you meet in contact in your day, and not doing nothing about it. Now that's mad.
Yeah.
So right, so you jump in and you feel freezing and whatever, and it knocks the bejesus out of your sail for a while. But overall, for God's sake, you know.
There's also go on, Dale.
In 2019 there, I just you know, my mother and father will be in their 70s and have underlying conditions and that, you know, they have a rough out time with their health, but I was getting them both out at different times just to walk along the strand in Portmarnock with their shoes and socks off, you know, just a little bit in the sea, you know, up to your ankles, you know, and just walk along in the sun, and you could see the difference in them. After 20 minutes of that, the difference in them, they just lifted their whole mood. They were just different people. They were like children again, you know. So I really saw the benefits of that, you know. Just if someone doesn't swim, don't get into the sea, just get them in, get their feet in, walk along, get your feet on the Mother Earth, you know, on the sand, and it'll change the whole trajectory for the day, you know. Just lift them. Lift them.
And I think it's a bit of everything. It's a bit of the cold water. It's a bit of maybe childhood memories coming back. It's a bit of play.
A paddle.
Yeah. And I know from being out with you guys that it's sometimes it's not even a swim. Sometimes it's just the crack. Yeah. And we're getting out and we're looking at each other's bleeding over fucking under-tanned, over-ripened Irish bodies, and we're going, jeez, I'm not too bad compared to that fucker, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just having a bit of crack, slagging each other and all. And
you're out there looking at, you can see that, you can't see no concrete, all you can see is sea going off into the whatever, and the heavens and that, you know, you're not just looking at concrete all around, so it's pretty good for your head as well.
Yeah.
The air is
you
great.
You definitely wouldn't be taking yourself too serious.
There's a bit of a slagging going on as well, because there was a kind of like the tribal dry road posse were getting whipped out, and my kind of response to that is, you know, what were all these people doing last year? They were probably sitting at home coming down off a bender, and now they're out with their kids on the beach, and if they're standing there for 3 or 4 hours in a dry robe, fair play to them, you know. And the ripple effects that will have on in their families and their communities for their kids in years to come, where they go, yeah, we just didn't go swimming once every couple of years at the height of the summer. We were out every couple of days all year round, and we got the benefits of it.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. I know a man said to me years ago, he said you have a great opportunity to break a cycle of addiction in your own house, you know, in your own family. And if that's by a positive example, I mean, it's the old adage, isn't it? Do as I do, not as I say, you know? And if you're out there and you're showing your kids a way, do you believe it benefit them? And you're not browbeating them. You're not saying, hey, get into the sea, you know? I mean, my eldest lad comes swimming with me, Aaron. He's a great kid, you know? And Connor, equally, Connor won't. He doesn't really, you know? He came last year once, I think he nearly killed him. He jumped in. It was about Easter time. But Lily, Lily came with me there now. Her coldest swim was the full moon, and that was this time last January. She had a wetsuit on her, and of course I had to bribe her with Scrum Diddley's ice cream, but it doesn't matter, you know. She still would get in, and we'd have a bit of banter and laugh, and you're showing people a good example, showing your family a good example, your kids a good example.
Yeah,
you know that there is another way. You have a choice.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you alluded to something there that I wanted to talk about, which was the other stuff that's happening as well as the swimming, like people going for sunrise swims or moonrise swims. Like that type of stuff for me is unprecedented, where you've got 400 and 500 people going down to Portmarnock Strand at half 6 in the morning in September to watch the sun coming up and then to have a swim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I was there a couple of weeks ago. You're probably there yourself as well, Jonathan. It was about 400 people meditating and doing yoga on the beach at 6 o'clock at night for the moonrise, and then going for a swim afterwards.
Yeah, that's, I think Jen did the yoga there, didn't she?
Mm.
Yeah. And again, like, I mean, my son's girlfriend, and she's from Chile, and her comprehension of English, it's okay, but her comprehension of pure dubs is zero.
Yeah.
But she came with me, and she loved it. She could feel the positive vibe from it, you know. She got into the sea, you could feel the camaraderie, everybody bouncing off one another, supporting one another. We brought a few cakes, and we had a bit of laugh, with a flask of coffee with us, and it was just brilliant, really brilliant. You know, everybody propping up one another. And especially at this point in time in the society, we're in the grasp of a global pandemic, and here we are, we're propping up one another by doing something that's healthy, natural, and we're all interacting, you know, in a proper way, not in an improper way, you know.
I do now.
As in, you know, having a house party with 80 people in it, for fuck's sake, you know, this isn't. It's not like that at all.
Or like what I like about what happens at the moon rises or whatever is that there's all shapes and sizes, all genders. Everyone's in that bleeding swimming costume. It's pitch dark, and people are just going for it. And there's, you know, people aren't cared about their body image, or, you know, men and women and the sexualization and all that type of stuff. We're just all there as people. And I don't know if you've seen it, Damo, but it is something that I've, you know, in the back of your mind, you think, I could imagine 500 or 600 people out here all the time regularly, and then you turn up one day and it's there, and it kind of blows you away a bit, you know.
I think the more people that get into it, I'd be very happy for much more people to get into this, you know. I think in Ireland, we were always very connected to nature. If you go back into our history, you know, we were always very, very close to nature, you know. And Christianity kind of taught us, divorced us from nature a bit, you know. So I think if you want to get back on the right track, get back into nature. That's what I say, you know. And if you're stopped at a checkpoint on your way somewhere, just say you're going to see our mother. She's very, very old, and she misses you. Mother Nature.
I'll have to write that one down.
It's not untrue.
My mate gets a bag of shopping. He just puts a bag of shopping on the back seat every day, and he just goes, "I'm out shopping."
I'm going to the wholesalers for once a month and driving around on the back of the car.
I've been talking to a good few people about the more spiritual elements. You know, beyond beyond maybe the AA and NA stuff, or the physical benefits of it. That the kind of spiritual. Like, I think when you connect in with the rhythms of nature, like circadian rhythms, with the moonrise and the sunrise, and you're open to changing, I think what's happening to a lot of people is that the next step, because they're doing yoga and they're doing Wim Hof breathing and they're doing meditating, is that starts to bring them on some kind of spiritual journey. And I know if I'm lying in the water and I'm spread out like a starfish and I close my eyes, I connect to something. I connect to some color or some love or some universe that opens up within me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this year on the 21st of December, it'd be the shortest day, the winter solstice day. When we're in the dead of winter day, when it's moving into the light. It was the full moon. It was can't quite remember the name of the moon, but there was a 2-star alignment. Jupiter and another star were in alignment. It won't be seen again for 800 years or something. We obviously won't see it. But I felt at that time, on that night, there was something amazing happening, you know. And it was like you say, a spiritual alignment. The way nature's come at the earth, and the people in ancient times, pagan people in Ireland, Neolithics and Paleolithic people, all of those people who built all these tombs and all these things, and even in South America, the Mayan people, Aztec people, they all used nature as the barometer. You know, they didn't use cash. They didn't use what size car, what size telly they had. It was all about nature, the rhythm of nature, the rhythm of the earth. And the American Indians, the same, tapped into all of that a long time ago. People were going back to that a lot, you know. I know, like in the cafe, like we stock this product, this Kilbeggan organic porridge. And myself and Aaron went down to this fella, and he said, lads, have you got a few minutes? Yeah, I said, I have, yeah. He brought us out the back and he showed me these cattle, he said, you know, that his father had brought in from Switzerland in the 70s. Now, obviously, these were descendants of the cattle, not the same cattle. He said, these are Simmental cattle, he said, they're the highest milk yield, creamy breed of all the cattle. And he said, they fertilize the earth that I grow this organic porridge from. He says, and that's why this porridge is second to none. And he had a huge passion for the earth and a huge passion for what he did. And he said to me, and Aaron was only a kid at the time, and he pointed out to the ground, he said, and I always remembered what he said. He gave me a great life lesson. He said, we have to look after the earth because he says, we're going back to it whether we like it or not. I always remember that, you know.
Great line. Yeah.
Or we're going back.
When you're in the sea and you like you say, when you close your eyes and you're just floating, you know, you fill your lungs and you just float in whatever chest high water, you know, and I suppose you just, you know, you feel like at one with everything on the earth, you know, and the stars. You just feel at one with the planet, you know. You don't feel lonely or disconnected or like you're not part of it. You just feel a part of everything. You just feel at one, and just a magical feeling, you know. It's just it's like heaven.
It reminds me of that painting behind you.
Oh yeah.
By Gary, that one there.
Yeah.
That's what I get connected to. That mother.
It's a beauty, isn't it?
Universal energy is what I get connected to.
That's it.
Back into love is where we go. And I remember during the summer there was a few people I know who were struggling with mental health and addiction, and they were suicidal and so on. And I invited them before they suicided to come down and have a swim. And I do like a small little baptism where I'd bend their head back into the water. And just as their nose and their mouth would go into the water, they kind of fight for life. And I would say to a few of them, like I've done it a few times, and I'd say to them, no, go on, you head on. You're ready to go now. And they'd go, no. And they'd be paddling like that to try and stay alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the possibility of connecting people back to themselves and their own humanity and their own spirituality is in there as well. And another exercise that I do is like, if lads find it difficult to speak or to cry or to show emotion, I get them to scream, get underneath the water and scream it out as loud as you can, and then come up and just look around and realize that nobody really cares. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but everybody has their own stuff to be dealing with. Nobody is looking at you, pointing fingers at you, worrying about your insecurities. So just let it out, like. And that's one of the things that I've been able to pick up and pass on to people directly from sea swimming. Yeah,
that's true. That's great, man. Yeah, you can care too much about what other people think of you, can't you? You know. When you shouldn't, like, it shouldn't matter. You know, it doesn't really. You can't change what they think. You know, you shouldn't worry about that sort of stuff. You know, stuff you can't change. When you're in the sea, like, you don't give a shit or anyone thinks of you.
Yeah. And the sea doesn't care.
Yeah, you feel like you're being cradled by a big mother, you know, by a big mother has you. And when you do stop your thoughts, stop your thoughts racing, like how good you feel, the soul, the beauty, the warmth you feel inside is just magic.
Yeah, it is. Magic. It is like a mother's bosom or something like that, where you're being fed by it, but it's pulling all the shite out of you that you don't want, it's no good for you.
Exercising all the bullshit, out of you.
Yeah. And I felt that you showed me how to lie on my back and massage or meditate, and I felt like I was part of the whole ocean rather than just in one corner of Hout.
Yeah.
And that massive body was pulling all this crap out of me that I picked up through my own patterns and programming and fears, and slowly putting stuff back into me that was worth having, you know?
Yeah. Great.
So thanks.
Thank the mother. Thank the mother.
Thank the mother. That's what we call Stephen here. He's our housemate, and he's always cooking for us now. Our nickname for him is Mother from Trainspotting. Thank the mother. Lads, that's deadly. That's more than I thought we were going to cover. And we went from, I think, how you got into sea swimming, to the physical effects, to the mental effects, to the spiritual effects, to what ripple effects it can have in our society, especially during these crazy lockdown times.
Absolutely, brother. That's great. This might help a few people now. This Zoom.
Yeah.
But I think, like, just lastly, if I could just throw in, a lot of Irish people are very quick to balk about a situation before they tried it, or slag off someone with a dry rope, whatever. And like it doesn't matter what anyone thinks you. It matters what you think yourself. That's what matters. The respect you have for yourself, because you're powerless over other people's bullshit. Powerless over it. I say to someone who's thinking about embarking on it, stop thinking about it. Go down and try it.
Yeah.
Go down and try it. Err on the side of safety for sure, but go down and try it. Yeah. And like I said, I remember saying to Damien years ago, I don't know what benefit it'll give you, but I know it won't do you any damage.
Yeah, definitely. And there's, just so people know, there's an open invitation. I swim at High Rock almost every day. There's an open invitation. Come down, and I have spoke to, probably in the last 12 months, probably about 20 guys and girls who come down who said that they were ready to check out, and they come and have a swim, and now they're ready to get on with their life. And that's powerful stuff. That's what I want to hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure.
You have decks you have a set of decks down there in all of blue.
Yeah. Happy days.
Yeah, I heard you smashing the place up down there, Dino.
I've always wanted, like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a dancer. I used to practice dancing in bed and all. I'd be lying in bed practicing me dancing.
Don't move it all, right? You have some moves.
I heard you can feel the vibration in Caruso's and Malahide.
What are you saying, Jonathan?
I heard you can feel the vibration in Caruso's and Malahide.
It makes me feel alive. Do what makes you feel alive. Right. And that's here. My mate said the other day, well, there's a few things that people are saying. One of the guys said, I swim so I don't drown.
Yeah.
I thought that was very good now. And then another guy, Adam Mohammed, said, dance like everyone's looking.
Yeah. You're ticking all the boxes.
I know, yeah. Jonathan, send me on that photograph, will you? And I'll stick it up with this. I'll probably stick this up on Facebook on Saturday, the 30th of January, and then stick it up for YouTube for people to watch and get the benefits from after that.
Yeah, I'll have to dig it out. It's in the cafe. I'm not there for a couple of days. I'm not there till Thursday.
Oh, happy days. Yeah, no rush. Get it done.
Sure. It's John Connors.
Take your time. Hurry up.
All right, boys.
Hope to see you, lads.